folks. I kinda hoped I'd be in an upbeat mood, being this is the show after the Final Four. Well, I'll tell you what, was a great run for the Orange while it lasted. The way they closed the regular season, I was one of those who didn't think they'd get very far. But boy, they did come together, especially in the Big East tournament, and this great run they had. Until they ran into those pesky yellow-clad Wolverines from Ann Arbor, and also those pesky zebra-clad referees. Michigan found quite a few holes there in the 2-3 zone there in the first half, and they raced out to an 11-point lead at the half, especially when the big guy there is able to get the ball right there and just put up little tip shots, lip. And I mean, he's able to do that, and Syracuse can't stop that. That spells a lot of trouble. But lo and behold, these Orange clawed their way back into the game. And in fact, they got to within one. Sutherland hadn't found his shooting all through the night. And then right there when it counted, he hits a three-pointer to bring the Orange within one. But then something happened there in those last 2 minutes. You gotta wonder if there was a little cahootinizing going on with the refs. Just like what happened there with that coach from Arizona and the Pac-12 refs. Of course, the Pac-12 commissioner of refs decided to resign after this came to light, as it looked like they cahootinized to call a technical on the Arizona coach in the Pac-12 tournament. You gotta wonder if there was that same type of thing going on with these refs there in that game, as there was some obvious horrendous calls there in the last 2 minutes of the game, especially the fouls called on Michael Carter-Williams and Brandon Trish. And when Carter-Williams had that awful foul called on him, and when he fouled out, you should have seen the Michigan player there. Baby, baby. Hey, you know what? I got a slingshot that'll take care of that nice little arm to you. Hey, brother, you know what I'd like to do? Put your arm in my slingshot and go ding. Of course, I can't stuff my hand in my mouth, but you know what I'm getting at. I would like to shove that arm right down your throat. And especially that call on Brandon Trish, when he was driving in the lane to potentially tie the game and maybe send it into overtime. That was an obvious flop by the Michigan player. Thing is, the NCAA is supposed to crack down on that. But apparently, these refs didn't see what a flop looks like. Instead, they call a charge on Trish. And that's how he sadly ended his Syracuse career. Boy, you just hate it when the game is taken out of the players' hands and into the refs' hands. What did it all spell out? A 61-56 defeat at the hands of Michigan, and a chance for a fourth game this year against Rick Pitino and the Louisville Cardinals in the finals. Well, guess what? That was just a ho-hum thing for me last night. Yeah, I did watch just out of curiosity. And yes, I got to see the new Hall of Famer get his NCAA title for a second school, the only coach ever to do that. Well, you know what? I congratulate Mr. Pitino on getting into the Naismith Hall of Fame, because you know what? He's had a pretty illustrious career, especially for someone who started out as an assistant to Boeheim. Heck, he's been to the Final Four with, I think, 3 or 4 teams, winning NCAA titles with 2 teams. He's had a pretty good career. Now his son is starting his coaching career coaching for Florida International or Florida Atlantic. It's either one of those. But I will say one thing for another inductee into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Oscar Schmidt, even though he never played in the NBA, had a long, illustrious career playing international basketball and representing Brazil on 5 Olympic teams. He is the all-time leading scorer in international basketball. The thing is, this was a long overdue honor for Oscar Schmidt. But I'm going to get back to Syracuse. Was definitely a disappointing way to end the season. And of course, we got to see our rivals hoist the NCAA championship trophy. The thing is, kudos to Kevin Ware for being such a champion and all that, especially with the gruesome injury that he suffered there in the game there a couple weeks ago. But I will say, it's not a time to lament about things, Orange fans. It's time to look ahead. Although we will say goodbye to Brandon Trish and James Sutherland, and I thank them for 2 great careers playing for the Orange. We gotta look at who else may leave. Michael Carter Williams is expected to maybe be a lottery pick if he declares. And chances are he is going to declare for the NBA draft. But judging from what I saw in the game against Michigan, I think it would be a big mistake if he decided to commit to the NBA draft. Thing is, he could use another year of seasoning. They all could. But the truth is, if Carter Williams decides to bolt for the NBA, it was a great couple of years with the Orange while it was. C.J. Fair also has to think about it, but I think the decision's easy for him. I think he ought to stay, because the truth is, he isn't really expected to be a pick until the 2nd round if he does declare, and he still could use a lot more work. And he could be the focal point that this team could go around for the next year. So let's look at it. Trish leaves, Sutherland leaves, Carter Williams is expected to leave, and Fair, I think, should pretty much stay. Plus, we got a hell of an incoming class. First, Tyler Ennis, who could jump right into the lineup from day one. Tyler Roberson, who could just work on his game a little bit, maybe get into the lineup in the middle of the season. With his size and that, he could blossom under Boeheim's tutelage. And also, the kid from Bishop Kearney, by way of Nigeria, Chinoso Oboku. He could be a big force there for the Orange, and we could have an African twosome, Oboku and Keita, one from Nigeria, one from Senegal. I gotta wonder, could somebody from Liberia or Guinea-Bissau or whatever any other country there in Western Africa is be on the horizon for the Orange as a recruit? We could have a heck of an African lineup. Of course, Kate is probably going to graduate before then. And also, there's Michael Benajay, a transfer coming in who's got high hopes. But I kind of wonder. I've been a J, I've also been a K, and I've also been an H. Spell KJH, get my initials. Oh, brother. So, fear not, Orange fans. We do lose Trish, we do lose Sutherland, and probably Carter Williams. But we'll have a heck of a nucleus coming back. I think we're poised for another good run next year, our first year in the ACC. And I also do this. Goodbye to the Big East. Was a heck of a run while it lasted, Big East fans. 33 years. But now it's time for new beginnings, Orange fans, for our football team and for our basketball team. And last but not least, I want to close this show and my season with a look at the new Bills quarterback. Kevin Cobb signed a contract to become the next veteran quarterback for the Bills. And of course, a lot of pundits will remember we knocked Kolb out for the season when the Bills played the Cardinals. But you know, Cobb is one quarterback who hasn't quite fulfilled his promises. But the thing is, he seems to be a pretty solid veteran quarterback. But could he be another one in these long line to succeed Jim Kelly? Because, I mean, one person said, Buffalo seems to be a place where quarterbacks go to die. Just look at what happened to Fitzpatrick after he signed that contract extension. He pretty much became a bum with that beard he had. But you know, Cobb could be the right veteran to come in, especially with Buffalo expected to draft a quarterback in the next few weeks. We're about 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. And everybody's thinking because Doug Marrone's now the quarterback for the Bills that Ryan Nassib could be the pick if he's still there in the second round. We'll take a look. Could Nassib and Marrone be reunited? We'll find out. And I'll have more of that in the coming months, especially in late August when this show revs up again, hopefully with bigger and better things. Scott Shaper in his first year as the coach for the SU football team. Doug Marrone going from Syracuse to Buffalo for his first NFL head coaching job. And could Ryan Nassib go from the Orange to the Bills? And who could be the new starter for Syracuse at quarterback? Right now, Charlie Loeb has the inside track, but others still have ways of finding out. It's going to be a wide open competition, and I look forward to it. SU's first year in the ACC. Clemson coming to the Dome. Should be an excellent game. It's going to be quite an off season, and we'll talk about it more in August. And I'll talk about it in a couple of weeks when Buffalo makes their draft picks. Till then, this is Kenny's Two Pennies, wishing you a happy and healthy summer, and I'll see you in August. Actually, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.